The new double tap perk is slowly becoming one of my first purchases in every zombies round because of how impactful the major and minor augments can be, extending the lethality of your weapons. But the real power of double tap is unlocked once you start creating synergies with other perks that crank up the damage even more. We'll look at multiple perks and augments to see if we can find the best combo, even some that all of you recommended, and even determine the best guns to pair with these combos to guarantee your weapons are as powerful as possible. Let's get into it. My favorite major augments for double tap are double impact, which increases damage after multiple hits on the same target, and double standard, which enables all non-critical shots from normal weapons to do double damage. I'm pairing this with double or nothing as this is the only minor augment that can increase damage since we're trying to build the highest DPS setup in zombies. If you want a full breakdown of the pros and cons of each double tap augment, you can check out my double tap analysis video here. We'll primarily use the AMAX assault rifle, which does 30 damage to the body and 160 for criticals. First perk aside from double tap that I think of when trying to increase damage is Deadshot Daiquiri, which improves critical damage and if you're playing on controller will snap to zombies' heads when you ADS. The two major augments that increase damage are Deadhead, which further increases critical damage, and Dead First, which deals double critical damage if an enemy is at full health. Dead Break is the only minor augment that improves damage, but only to armor, so we'll use that over Dead Draw and Dead Set. We're going to run 4 tests for Deadshot Daiquiri, 1 for each combo with double tap. Deadhead with double standard, Deadhead with double impact, Dead First with double standard, and Dead First with double impact. We'll compare the damage outputs for body shots and criticals against the 30 to the body and 160 to the criticals at base for the AMAX without any perks. When looking at Dead First versus Deadhead, I wanted to compare them side by side without double tap to get a good baseline. With just the major augment equipped, I was able to max out the damage with Dead First to 320 for a critical kill with the AMAX. Because this doesn't affect with body shots, we'll still see that at 30. For Deadhead, you only see a 24 point increase on the base critical damage of 160 up to 184. Meaning, Deadhead is giving a slight boost for all critical shots, but Dead First is applying a double damage bonus on all critical shots when an enemy is at full health. In the early rounds, I would rather double the damage of a single bullet, knowing that it'll either be a one-hit kill or greatly reduce the health when I hit a new target versus only a small percentage increase on the base critical damage for all shots. Once we add double tap in with Deadshot Daiquiri, we start to see some insane single bullet damage numbers. Even though Deadhead generates less single bullet damage, I still got a max damage of 369, which is a remarkable improvement over the 184 we just discussed. This is because we have the double or nothing augment equipped with double tap, allowing for a chance to double our damage on every shot. Dead First with double tap equipped is where we start to see some outrageous benefits. Just as a reminder, the AMAX does 160 base critical damage. When equipping double or nothing in Dead First, it quadruples to 640 because Dead First doubles the 160 base critical damage and then double or nothing doubles it again. This isn't capped though, because the damage it's doing is without Pack-a-Punch or rarity upgrades. At Pack-a-Punch 3 and Gold Rarity, the AMAX does a whopping 5,359 critical damage, and I even got a shot that did 14,525 critical damage when utilizing Dead First with double or nothing. As the rounds get higher, the zombie's health scales with a max health of 50,000 at round 55. That means you can reduce the amount of total ammo needed to kill enemies due to the increased damage. Again, this is just for the AMAX, which is an assault rifle, so the per shot damage would be much higher for something like a sniper rifle that is already incredibly powerful per bullet. If you're looking to boost your damage to the max, I would recommend pairing double tap with the double impact major augment and double or nothing minor augment with Deadshot Daiquiri and the Dead First major augment. Death Perception may honestly be my least favorite perk in the game, but it's worth testing because the critical eye major augment provides a small chance that a body shot can become a critical shot. We'll pair this with double standard as we'll be trying to hit body shots to proc the augment. I started off using the AMAX since we've been using it across all the other tests. The big question is how often does the major augment activate and give us a critical hit? After a few rounds on Tomb, I found that while it occurred enough to notice it, it's not worth getting the perk over something like Jug, Speed Cola, or Quick Revive early on. I'd toss the augment on if you plan on buying all the perks during a long run, but away from that, I wouldn't recommend it. I also tried it out with a shotgun and came to the same conclusion. Even paired with double tap, Death Perception is still an F tier perk in my opinion. Another perk that comes to mind when I think of improving damage is Melee Macchiato, which boosts your melee damage. My hope is that we could pair double tap's major and minor augments to increase non-critical damage, making our melee incredibly powerful. Unfortunately, it looks like double tap only affects normal bullet weapons, and this doesn't apply to knives, drills, bats, skateboards, or anything else, which is a huge bummer. One comment that stuck out was asking for a setup for a shotgun with Dragon's Breath, since most content creators testing double tap utilized automatics. Honestly, this isn't a setup I typically run, so I was super intrigued with how this may perform. I chose the ASG-9, 1, because it's the shotgun I've used the most in zombies, and 2, it has such a high fire rate that we could get multiple shots off quickly before the zombies died to the fire. At base damage, the ASG-9 does 30 damage per pellet, which is plenty enough in the early rounds to kill zombies. However, the damage falloff is noticeable, but the Dragon's Breath ammo definitely helps make it more lethal. Once we equip double tap and start getting the benefits of both the major and minor augments, we can see the damage increase significantly. Because the ASG-9 doesn't get a damage multiplier for criticals, you can spray and pray, making a perk like double standard beneficial, as all non-critical shots do double damage. When paired with double or nothing, you have the ability to quadruple shotgun damage without Dragon's Breath even equipped. Once I equipped Dragon's Breath though, it further increased the ASG-9's damage to a potential 100 with fire still affecting the zombies, making it a very beneficial setup to run for an alternative to ARs and SMGs. Again, this is without Pack-a-Punch or rarity upgrades, so the damage is only going to increase. Try out the Dragon's Breath ammo on shotties with the double standard major augment and double or nothing minor augments to see for yourself. After all these tests, I'm really happy with the conclusions we've come to. Double tap paired with Deadshot Daiquiri is an immensely powerful combo that should be targeted as your first few perks. If you feel like you're able to stay alive and would rather increase your damage, I'd go for these two first and then get Jug as your third perk. If you want more detailed breakdowns of how perks work in zombies, check this video out on the left. If you want more zombies content, then this playlist is perfect for you.